Noah Ford's sitting in his cramped apartment, slurping down the last of his instant noodles. The cheap meal wasn't great, but it was all he could afford. He sighed, staring at the cracked ceiling. Another long day of job hunting awaited him. A sharp knock at the door made him frown. He wasn't expecting anyone. With a sigh, he got up and opened the door. A tall man in an expensive suit stood there, holding a sleek black folder. His graying hair and piercing eyes made it clear he wasn't here for small talk.
Noah Ford?
The man asked. Noah hesitated.
Yeah, who's asking?
The man adjusted his tie.
I'm Mr. Carter, legal representative of Mr. Harold Lancaster. I've come to inform you that your wedding has been arranged. You are to marry his granddaughter, Olivia Lancaster, today.
Noah blinked. Then he laughed, shaking his head.
Right, and I'm secretly a prince, good one.
Mr. Carter remained stone-faced.
This is no joke, Mr. Ford. The ceremony has already been arranged. You are expected at the Lancaster estate within the hour.
The noodles sat heavy in Noah's stomach. He had heard of the Lancasters, one of the wealthiest families in the city. Their empire stretched across industries, and their name alone carried power. And yet, here he was, an orphan with no name and no future, supposedly about to marry into their family.
This has to be a mistake.
Noah said slowly.
I don't even know Olivia Lancaster.
Mr. Carter didn't blink.
There is no mistake. Mr. Lancaster insisted on this arrangement. And considering everything he's done for you in the past,
He trailed off meaningfully. Noah stiffened. The old man, he had met him before. A lifetime ago, when he was just a starving boy on the streets, Mr. Lancaster took care of him, a gesture that had saved his life. But why would he do this now? Noah exhaled sharply.
And if I refuse?
Mr. Carter smiled slightly.
then you reject the only man who ever believed in you.
For a long moment, Noah said nothing. Then, with a deep breath, he muttered.
Fine, but I still don't get why this is happening.
Mr. Carter simply placed a hand on his shoulder.
You will, in time.
The Lancaster estate was larger than anything Noah had ever seen. The massive mansion loomed over him like something out of a royal palace, its towering pillars and sprawling gardens a clear sign of old money. As he stepped inside, whispers followed him like shadows.
Who is that man?
I heard he's an orphan, no family, no fortune, a nobody.
Noah ignored them, keeping his eyes ahead. But his hands clenched into fists at his sides. At the altar, Olivia Lancaster stood in an elegant white gown, her beauty both effortless and intimidating. Her honey blonde hair was styled in soft waves, and her bright hazel eyes met his with a mixture of nervousness and curiosity. Then, to his surprise, she smiled. "Hi," she whispered as he stepped beside her. "I know this is sudden, but let's get through this together, okay?" Noah hesitated. He had expected her to be cold, distant like her family. Instead, she was warm, kind. He let out a slow breath.
Yeah. Okay.
Her father, Charles Lancaster, was watching from the front row, arms crossed, his disapproval evident. Next to him, Olivia's older brother, Liam, smirked.
This is a disgrace.
Charles muttered.
That boy has no place in our family.
Relax, Dad. He won't last long here.
The reception was grand, filled with the city's elite dressed in their finest. Noah, however, felt like an imposter in the ill-fitting suit Mr. Carter had provided. The guests barely acknowledged him. The Lancaster name meant power, but to them he was just a charity case. A waiter mistakenly approached him, holding a tray.
Sir, can you help serve the drinks at table 5?
Before Noah could respond, Liam's voice rang out.
Oh, come on. He looks the part, doesn't he?
Liam said loudly, smirking.
Maybe that's what Grandpa saw in him, a good butler.
Laughter rippled through the room. Noah's grip tightened on his glass, but he forced himself to stay calm. Before he could respond, Olivia stepped forward, her voice sharp. "That's enough, Liam." Liam held up his hands in mock surrender.
Relax, leave. Just making conversation.
Olivia's hazel eyes burned with quiet anger, but Noah simply gave her a small shake of his head. He was used to this. Later, when the family gathered at the head table, Noah was placed at a separate one, away from Olivia. He chuckled bitterly to himself.
Married into a family that doesn't even acknowledge me. Great start.
The bedroom was massive, but the silence between them felt even bigger. Olivia sat on the bed, pulling off her earrings while Noah leaned against the couch. I'm sorry about today, she finally said. My family can be difficult. Noah let out a dry laugh.
That's an understatement.
She smiled, but it was small and sad. I don't agree with them. I know you're more than what they see. Noah studied her carefully.
Why are you so nice to me?
She sighed. Because my grandfather chose you. And I trust him. He hesitated.
Do you know why?
She shook her head. No, but he's never wrong about people. Maybe he sees something in you that even you don't see yet. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Noah exhaled, pushing his hair back.
Well, let's take it one day at a time.
Olivia smiled, a real one this time. One day at a time. In his dimly lit study, Harold Lancaster sat alone. A folder open in front of him. His fingers traced the name on the document, Noah Ford. Beside it, an old photograph of a baby boy. A child lost to time. A butler entered quietly.
Sir, the ceremony is over. The boy is now married into the family.
Harold nodded, eyes never leaving the photo.
They don't know who he truly is. But soon, they will.
The butler bowed and left, the door clicking shut behind him. Harold leaned back in his chair, eyes heavy with secrets and destiny. Noah may be a nobody in the eyes of the Lancaster family, but secrets don't stay buried forever. What happens when the forgotten heir starts to rise? Stay tuned for the next episode, because this is just the beginning. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss episode 2.